We sold a few, but I haven't a clue.
You remember Atlanta?
Yes,
Talks about
yes, I remember Atlanta. Yes. Um, Another defining moment for us. Um, Morehead, because, we're in Eastern Kentucky, was never, really out front a lot. And so it was an opportunity for the college to be um, represented and for our choir to be invited to such a national thing. It was a big thing for us. And it was, I'm from Georgia, so it was for me to go back home. So it was an opportunity for my family in Georgia to see my choir from college. It was great.
what were race relations like on campus?
Mm. In some respects, well, let me put it this way. It kind of depended on the situation. I think I put that on my form. Um, there were some things that there was more cohesiveness, and there were some things that was total separation. Um, and I guess that's why many of us gravitated to the choir, because that was our connection to one another, because there wasn't much else on campus for us beyond that. If we were involved in our sororities and our fraternities, we got involved with Rush and things like that, a Panhellenic and all of things like that. But beyond anything else for African Americans, there was nothing else. So I think you will find that anyone you talk with, that was just our piece that helped us stay sane. Because at the time that I attended here, there was only one black family that lived in Morehead. So you didn't see us. So it was important that, and I attended here in the 70s. And so the school had not got on board with a lot of things that maybe they needed to have been on board about in terms of keeping African Americans, um, in terms of helping the cohesiveness within the college culture itself.
Is there anything that you'd like to talk about that I haven't asked you about? Stories or any
Um, any stories? It's not a story, but maybe a tribute. And I'm losing my voice more. That's more I talk. Because there was, let's see, how do I want to say it? There were no mentors per se for us on campus. Let's see. Well, that's not, well, mentor that would work and kind of keep some cohesiveness and keep us in the straight and narrow, and help us to understand our role here was not to play. And that was Jerry Gore. And I think many of us probably would have gone back home, probably would have gotten in not, probably got in trouble if it had not been for Jerry. And he mentored pretty much all of us in some form or another.
what was he like?
What was he like?
Older or is
He wasn't much. At the time, Jerry had just finished his master's, so he wasn't much older than us. I mean, yes, he was older, but not. He might have been maybe 10 years older than us, maybe at the time. Um, I don't think I ever knew Jerry's age, to be honest. So I made an assumption. But he took it upon himself to make sure if there were some things going on, if he thought people might need to know that you might get in trouble about that, he made sure. Jerry lent people money. Jerry fed people. Jerry went to bat for people. his personality was just too big for him. And so he was kind of the catalyst that brought us all together.
You go for your kid.
My name is Mary Ann, last name Meux, Meaux.
Marianne, why did you select Morehead State?
I selected Morehead. A friend of my brother's had gone here, or was going here at the time. And also, I looked at other colleges. UK I thought was too large. Eastern, I had another friend going to Eastern, so I wanted a different experience. Western was too far away, so that pretty much left Morehead.
Do you remember your first day on campus, what it was like?
Maybe not my first day on campus. I don't specifically remember that, but I do remember when my mother and my aunt brought me down here, or over here. And I think I slept on the way. I wasn't feeling well. When I woke up, I thought, oh my God. It just seemed like mountains to me, but later on I was told those are hills, not mountains. But it was a different experience. It just seemed like we were in the mountains.
You were a business major?
I was a business major, that's correct.
Can you tell us about that?
It was different. In high school and growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a businesswoman or a career person. Wasn't exactly sure what that meant, but I thought that I would be this top executive somewhere. Ended up getting married my second year here, so that somewhat changed. But I'm still in business. I majored in business, and I work in the finance area at the courthouse. And I've always been in business banking, something along those lines. So I've enjoyed it.
You got married your second year.
Yes.
What was dorm life like for your first year? Do you remember that?
It was interesting. I will say, I had made some really good friends here and some lifetime friends that I still have now. I don't have any sisters, so I decided it was best to live alone, so I had a private room, which I really enjoyed that. But we would get together at times, and back then you couldn't really, we had a refrigerator and we could have a hot plate, and we would cook meals like we might cook the vegetable in one meal, the meat in another, in one room, the meat in another room, and we kind of like put the meal together. It was kind of cool because we would have like mac and cheese, and I believe it was either pork chops and green beans, French style green beans. That was our main thing. We ate pretty good for college students. It was but then too we were much thinner, so we looked anorexic looking back at the pictures.
That's a good idea, though, go in each room.
Yeah, it was really kind of neat though, because the hot plate only had two sides to it, so we would like prepare part of the meal here and part of the meal there, and then put it all together. So.
Did you meet your husband on campus?
Yes, actually I did. Yes.
Can you tell us that story? Will you tell us that story?
Well, we've since divorced. We were married for 5 years. I think we got married basically too young, so I wouldn't advise anyone to get married while they're in college. But at the same time, if things had worked out, it would have been a lifetime thing for me, but it just didn't work out that way. So, but I was going across to, I think I was actually going to see someone or headed to Convenient, which it was on beside Jerry's, and this guy was up in, I believe it might be the Button, I forget the name of the hall, but one of the guys' doors, he was up on the third floor, third or fourth floor, and he hollered out at me, and I just ignored him. And so then when I walked through the hallway, through the buildings, through to the other side, he came on the other side and hollered at me again. I still like ignored him. And so eventually someone gave him my name or something, and he called me, or we'd seen each other, and so that's basically how we met, though. But at first, I thought he was kind of goofy, tall and goofy, but he was a really nice guy. It just didn't work out, though.
What was married housing like?
We lived at the Blue Zoo, which that was out by the drive-in, and I don't think any of that exists anymore, but there were trailers out there, and they were all blue. And I remember at the time, the rent was $100, and if you wanted cable, it was an extra $6. So our rent was a whopping $106 a month. And like I said, the trailers were all lined up, and they were blue. The sides of the trailers were blue, and the top was white, I believe. We called it the Blue Zoo. And it was basically just a big circle with the trailers lined up around the circle. And the furniture was included in that. You had nice pleather furniture. So it was all the walls were paneled. So just the basic little trailer with a little bedroom and living room. The open combination, which is what everyone likes now, but it was an open floor plan, I guess you would call it.
How did you find your way to the Black Gospel Ensemble?
Again, I did that before I was married. So I guess I was in the ensemble for a year and a half. And just the other people that I knew in it, like the girl that I'd mentioned before that I knew from my brother had known her. And so it was kind of like the way we could come together. One thing I noticed that was different here too is that it wasn't segregated. This is past segregation because I came here in '76. But it seemed like where I came from, I was the only black in my class. Excuse me, I was the only black in my class. So all my friends were white or Caucasian. So when I came here, I noticed that a lot of the people, it kind of like all the blacks were together and all the whites. Even though I had white acquaintances and friends, and I was in actually the Honor Society when I first came. That's another story, but through basically I met people that way. But it seems like people kind of like stay to themselves. So through meeting the other blacks here at the school, and I just got involved in the Black Gospel Ensemble. And that way you could also connect to something that I was always familiar with as far as church, and I'd sang at the choir at home. So it was kind of a connection that you had with people, and I guess it was comforting in a way. And we just did a lot of good things, and as far as going different places and experience, we went to New York and we went to Atlanta. And so me being from a small girl from a little country town, that was something I hadn't done. And it was a lot of fun though. And being with the people this weekend has just been awesome, just seeing a lot of people from 20, 25, 30 years ago, not 30, but that long ago, was really, just really great. It's just been great.
Can you remember any particular of those trips, some of them stand out, like New York? Or?
The New York trip, I remember we went to the Empire State Building, which now I don't think they can do that since 9/11. Went to the top of the Empire State Building. I remember they told us too that if you drop a penny off at the top and it hit someone, they could die from it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I remember them telling us that. We didn't throw anything off because you could actually look out over the city. That was pretty awesome. We went through Harlem. I remember during that time it was the garbage strike in Harlem, and it was so dirty. And I thought, why are they bringing us through here? But it was just really run down and dirty is what I remember. And I think now it's since changed, but at that time it was just really, with the garbage all around, the garbage strike, it was just really ugly. I remember too going through Times Square, and as I mentioned, I'm from a small town, and at that time we had just had the 200th celebration of the city, because Harrodsburg is like the oldest city in Kentucky, and so it was celebrating 200 years. It was 1776 to 1976, and we had this. Everybody came from all over the state and everywhere for this big celebration, and there were all these people. So when I was in Times Square, that reminded me I'd never seen that many people since there wasn't. This was like a daily, just their daily activities, and for us, we'd never seen that many people unless it was a parade or a big event. But Times Square, there were so many people, and I just thought, oh my goodness, I had never seen anything like that. I also remember them selling the pretzels on the street. I don't know if they do that anymore. I thought they would be unsanitary. People were eating these pretzels out of these black iron-looking things off the street. You could purchase a pretzel, and I thought that was kind of strange. But
Yeah. Did you say you had another story? Did you say something about honors? What did you say?
oh, well, we really won't go into that.
Oh, come on.
Well, okay, when I was in school, I graduated with honors, and I was in the National Honor Society, and I was I was like probably the president or vice president of most clubs and everything, and I was voted best all around. So I was very active in my school and a good student. But when I came here, it was that matter of independence where you're not really it was just different. So even though I graduated on time, and my then husband, he also graduated on time and was supposed to have gone on to law school, and that's another story. But anyway, it was a matter of, I didn't maintain the grades that I should have. So I would advise anyone, when you're going to school, to really stay focused. Because my senior year I did well, and my junior year I did well. But my freshman year, it was just a whole new experience, and just it was just different.
Is there anything I haven't asked you about that you'd like to talk about?
Probably not.
You just want to get out the door.
No, now, Morehead was a good experience, and this weekend has brought back a lot of great memories, and just seeing the people here and how well people have done. And I've noticed one thing I was thinking about too, like in my family, my brother had also gone to college, and I have some cousins who have gone to college. But I think it's more of an opportunity when you've been to college, that it's more than likely that your child will go to college. And then talking with some of the other people here whose sons are not just involved in sports, but there are other children who are have gone on in medicine and other areas, and it's really good to see that where you're getting like the second and third generations of college students, and that's just really excellent. And to know that people have that focus. It's not a matter of Are you going to college is where are you going to college? So that's a good mindset, I think, to have.